Hello students, this video 2.7, and again unit is logic lines. The objective is students will be able to justify two lines are parallel, and by two I actually mean two, you guys, so two. Okay, and students will be able to determine the equations and graphs of parallel lines. So let's add there of parallel lines. Alright, so let's go, flippers. So what you're going to actually do, and this is kind of cool when you think about it, is now what we're doing is moving into what are parallel lines. So what are parallel lines? Well, they're lines that never intersect, which is really cool. So here are some parallel lines. These lines will never cross. And you want to know why? It's because the lines have the same slope. So for example, if we look down here at the bottom, if these lines, we can see clearly that these two lines have the same slope. And where do I identify the slope? Identify the slope by looking at the standard equation for the slope of a line, which is the slope-intercept form. Remember, the slope-intercept form is when you have the slope, m, times x, plus the y-intercept. So if I look at these two equations, I can clearly see that 2 is the slope here, so the slope is 2 over 1 for the first equation in red. And then 2 over 1 is the slope for the equation in blue. And these lines are parallel because they have the same slope. They will never ever cross. The cool thing about parallel lines is that they have no solution set when they're put into a system of equations. So here we go for example number 1, and it says, given segment MM shown below with M negative 6, 1 and N 3, negative 5, what is the equation of the line that passes through the point P and is parallel to MN? First thing I want to do is I want to find the equation for this line that's been given. So that's what I need to find first. So the first thing you want to do is find the slope of this line, and we're going to use these 2 points, M and N. You can see I wrote the equation for the slope of a line, so let's plug in and find out what the slope is. I did my values here, my x1 and my x2, or my x1 and my y1, excuse me, and my x2 and my y2. And I got that the slope is negative 2 over 3. So that's my slope. Now what I've done is I've basically written the standard form of an equation, but without a y-intercept. So the equation that I have here has the same slope. If you look at the slope, so this slope, as the equation of the line over here, which is negative 2/3. And that's what we want, right? Because parallel means they have the same slope. Now I want this line, the new one that I'm going to make, to pass through this point, 6, 1. So now I need to plug in that point where I have x here and y to find my b, which is my y-intercept. So let's do that. See, I plugged it in. I plugged in 6 for x, and I plugged in 1 for y, and we're going to solve for b. Gotten that b equals 5, so now I'm ready to write my equation, which is y equals negative 2/3 x plus 5. And that's the equation of a line that will be parallel to the line MN that actually grows through point P. Example 2. It says, what is the slope of a line parallel to y equals 3/4 x plus 1? Okay, so again, lines that are parallel have the same slope. So we're going to find the slope. There it is. The slope is 3/4. So M equals 3 over 4. So now I'm looking for one of these equations to have the same slope. Well, number 1 has a slope of 17, so that does not work. Number 2 has a slope similar to this, but it's been flipped and negated. Ooh, that's actually something kind of cool. You'll find out tomorrow. That's not it. Number 3, look at that. The slope is 3/4. We found our answer. And if we look at number 4, the slope is 4. Not right. So number 3 is right because it has the same slope. So the lines would be parallel. All right, here's number 3. The equation of a line is 3y plus 7x equals 5. What is the slope of the line parallel to the given line? Well, this line, unfortunately, is not in slope-intercept form, meaning it is not solved for y. So what we need to do first is solve it for y. So back to algebra. So again, you take your 3y plus 7x equals 5, and you solve it for y. Let's do that. We've solved it. We subtracted 7x from both sides, a little SPO, divided both sides by 3, a little depot, and then we have our negative 7/3 x plus 5/3. We were asked to find the slope of a line parallel. Therefore, the slope of a line parallel will be the same as this slope, which is negative 7/3. Our last question, number 4, says line H passes through the point 0, 5, and 4, 1. Graph the line that is parallel to line H and passes through point 2, 3. So just like question number 1, first we need to find the slope of the 2 points for the particular line that was given. So let's do that. We have found the slope. The slope between these 2 points on this line is going to be negative 5, 4. So now we want to take that slope and we want to actually find an equation for this particular point. So let's write our slope-intercept equation. Our equation where I plugged in that slope that we found, and now I have to plug in that point. So let's plug in the point, then the point. So now let's solve for B. I've solved for B, and as you can see, it's a process because B ends up being a fraction. 2 times negative 5 over 4 gives me negative 10 over 4, and then I have 3 here. I'm changing this 3 to fourths. Wondering why? Because I have fourths here, and I have to add 10 fourths to both sides. So it's easier to add fourths than fourths. So when I add 12 fourths and 10 fourths, I get 22 fourths, and that is what B equals. So now I can write my equation, which is, and it asks me to graph, but I'm going to ask you to just write this equation, which is y equals negative 5 fourths x plus 22 fourths. Done. And there it is, your secret hot question tonight. It says the equation of a line is 5y plus 10x equals 5. What is the slope of the line parallel to the given line? Ooh, so you're finding the slope. And then it says, what is the equation now of a line parallel to the line above that goes through this point? So a two-parter, part 1, part 2. See you tomorrow.